Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Creative Mornings Winnipeg. We're very happy that you decided to join us on this beautiful Friday morning. I hope that you were able to get into the lounge and meet some new friends and probably some old friends. Please say hi in the chat because we love to hear who's joining us and where you're coming from. I'd like to recognize that we are on Treaty 1 territory, traditional lands of the Ojibwe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene nations, and homeland to the Red River Métis. I'd like to note that Creative Mornings is recorded, and we also take photographs or screenshots. And so by attending the event, you are agreeing to have your picture taken and your chat comments recorded for our social media and website use. Often we have guests who may not be from Winnipeg, so welcome to those Global Creative Mornings community members who've joined us. We're connected to our global community by our monthly theme. And as you may have heard, this month's theme is procrastination. And we're really excited to hear from our speaker this morning, Shaun Vincent of Vincent Designs, who's going to talk about his experience or his perspective with procrastination. Our hashtags for today's event are hashtag CMWPG and hashtag CMProcrastination. And please remember to tag us at CM_Winnipeg. My name is Jessica Dumas, and I'm a professional speaker coach. I'm a member of Creative Mornings Winnipeg Committee. And many of you may know me as the past chair for the Winnipeg Chamber of Commerce or the past chair for the Aboriginal Chamber of Commerce. And thank you for joining us on AirMeet. When you enter the program, you land in the social lounge where you can hang out and meet new friends and old friends at the virtual tables. And Gabrielle is at table number 4, so say hi to her. What to expect throughout the program this morning is at every Creative Mornings event, we have a musical guest. And after our musical guest, we invite you back to the social lounge where you have an opportunity to network and discuss our monthly theme, which of course this month is procrastinate. And then we're going to invite you back to the main stage and we're going to hear from Shaun Vincent. While the main presentation is on, like right now, your sound and your video are automatically turned off. So just have comfort in knowing that. If you have any questions about AirMeet, look for the purple question mark on the bottom right-hand part of your screen. Next month, we're actually going to be moving our program over to Zoom as our event platform. And thank you to Creative Manitoba for doing that. Also, thank you to New Media Manitoba for hosting us on AirMeet as we launched Creative Mornings into Winnipeg. Next month, our theme is resilient. For April, our theme is resilient. And the tickets are available now on the Creative Mornings Winnipeg website. So we invite you to please sign up and register before you leave today's event. Next month, we welcome illustrator Natasha Boone to talk on the theme of resilient. She has a very inspiring and moving story that she'll share with us. So we invite you to come back and take that in with us. Thank you to our global and our local partners. Without them, we wouldn't get to do this fabulous work. Creative Mornings has 3 global partners. Thank you to MailChimp. MailChimp has supported Creative Mornings globally for 11 plus years now. Thank you to Basecamp and Hey. Skillshare is the newest global partner of Creative Mornings Global. And also thank you to our local partners. And we want to welcome Scott Angus from the Johnston Group. So if he's here today, please give us a wave. I'm just kidding. You know that I can't see you. So what I'm going to ask you to do is take a little selfie of yourself and tag us in a photo. Let us know that you're here. But thank you to Johnston Group for being one of our local partners. And thanks, Scott, for joining us today. To our Creative Mornings Winnipeg Steering Committee, who I love to work with, thank you so much for all of your hard work in bringing in these fun events every month. A special thank you and shout out to Red River College and their American Sign Language class for providing interpretation for our events. You'll see the interpreter's video box is pinned to the main viewing option. And thank you so much for our interpreters for being here. And thank you, Becky, who is here with us so far this morning. And now it's time for some of our local music in which we like to celebrate and really bring into our event. So we have a special music performance by the Manitoba band Mise Unseen. The garage rock band is led by the dual power of Stephanie Blondell Johnson and Jody Dunlop, who are originally from Gimli, Manitoba. Their latest album is Winnipeg, California. They mesh modern vibe with vintage charm, and we welcome them to infuse our morning with their great energy. So their first song is called Angel. Cheers and enjoy.
Another broken light.
was beautiful. That was so much fun. Thank you to Mies on Scene, and we're going to hear from them again before we leave our event today. Each month, the Creative Mornings global community picks a theme. Creative Mornings Turin chose procrastination for April. They're partnered with Elisa Talentino and her illustration with Basecamp and Hay for this month's global theme partner. Often the act of procrastination can be seen as a negative thing, especially when the impact of one person's procrastination can have an impact on other people. But since this is Creative Mornings, we want to challenge the stigma of the way that we think and feel about procrastination. So we invite you to look at procrastination in different ways, in positive ways, and share your stories on how procrastination has led to something interesting or unexpected. So we are going to invite you to go back to the social lounge and join a table. And what I want to invite you to do is look around the room that you're in. And is there an object? Is there a thing? Is there a person or an animal even that represents for you a positive example of procrastination? So if you can look around right now, what is it in your space that represents a positive association that you have to procrastination? And we invite you to share that with people at your table. So we're going to invite you back to the social lounge for about 10 minutes. And if you're not really stoked about sharing right now and getting on camera and talking to people, then we invite you to step out and shake out of your comfort zone just a little bit. And remember that you're being engaged in our activities, and doing that can have a really positive impact on others. You never know what you do, what your engagement, and how that can really have a good impact on someone else's day. In the social lounge, please feel free to take a seat at any table by clicking Take a Seat, and turn your camera and microphone on using the controls at the bottom of the screen. And that's when you'll be able to see and hear people. We'll give you a 2-minute warning when we invite you to come back to the main stage, and then we welcome our speakers. So we invite you to go backstage now and tell your stories of procrastination. See you soon. Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you had a good and positive conversation about your association with procrastination. So please let us know in the chat what really stood out for you. Did you have any aha moments? We'd love to hear it. I'm pleased to introduce Dan Lamb, who is one of our steering committee members, and he's a member of Man Overboard Design Team. Dan will be sharing our Creative Mornings manifesto and introducing our speaker for today. Over to you, Dan.
Thanks for that intro. Good morning, everyone. Creative Mornings chapters around the world celebrate creative talent and promote an open space to connect with like-minded people. They also happen to be guided by a powerful manifesto, which is read at every event. Today, that honor falls to me, so I'm going to read it to you now. Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty, and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate you, and encourage you to make the things that you love. We believe in community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections, in learning from others, in jazz hands, virtual claps, and virtual snaps. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome. The Winnipeg chapter has also made a commitment to reflecting diversity and ensuring inclusion for all of our events. Located in one of the most diverse communities in North America, we are as inclusive as we are creative, and we will be creative in order to achieve inclusion. We believe in the value of diversity of perspectives, audiences, and industries, and we create safe events to debate, discuss what it is and what it means to be creative. We will celebrate multiple approaches and points of view, and we'll be mindful and purposeful in building a culture where these differences are not only valued, but are celebrated. And with that, I'll now turn it over to Christian Robin, one of our Creative Mornings Winnipeg team, to introduce our speaker for the day.
Can everyone see me? I need a thumbs up. All right, perfect. So thanks a lot, Dan. That was great. Okay, now I see myself. Great. So I'm now very pleased to welcome Shaun Vincent to the Creative Morning stage. So Shaun is my friend, which in and of itself makes him very special. But there's a long list of things that make Shaun a really special person. So I'll name just a few to get things started. For starters, he's an advanced diploma graduate of Red River College, graphic design. #RRC. Shaun is an exceptional graphic designer, illustrator, and marketing strategist for over 18 years, and he's the owner of Vincent Design Incorporated. Shaun and his company have earned a reputation for creating authentic, memorable work. He has deep roots firmly planted in his hometown of Winnipeg and the Métis community here and in Saint-Laurent. Shaun has also been recognized for his volunteer work throughout the city and currently sits on numerous boards, including youth mentorship, Indigenous leadership groups, and community center development. He's also a professional dungeon master, a potato chip sommelier, a hot dog grill master, and a ping pong ninja. Get to know him. He's a lot of fun. And he's that guy you see walking his dog in the neighborhood, fixing things for people, helping to shovel the sidewalk, waving hello to everyone, and keeping an eye on things, always with a smile. You're in for a real treat this morning. Please join me in welcoming my friend, Shaun Vincent.
Hi, everybody. Wow, that was impressive. Thanks, buddy. That's awesome. Yeah, I guess it's on me now. So thank you very much for that amazing intro. I'm beside myself sometimes when I hear someone talk to me like that. So thank you again. I guess I'm just going to get into the presentation right away. So I'm just going to present my document here. Just give me a sec. Just give me 2 seconds. There we go. Thumbs up, everyone can see that? And can everyone see me too? I'm just curious. I can only see Danielle, the interpreter, and Jessica. I'm just going to go ahead. Okay.
Well, yeah, we see you, but go right ahead.
Okay, sounds good. So yeah, thank you again for giving me the opportunity to speak today. It seems this week and next week, all I seem to be doing is speaking and doing presentations. So hopefully this one won't be. This one should be more fun and not me pitching a design or pitching an idea. So yeah, my talk today is about professional procrastination in the middle of a pandemic. So it's a Mitch's perspective on graphic design. So I guess I'll start about me, who I am. So yeah, pretty much Christian summed it up pretty well. I'm a graphic designer here. I work at Vincent Design Incorporated as a creative director and as the sort of just the creative director. And also designer. I still like to definitely work and get my hands dirty, for lack of a better term. I absolutely love design. I've been doing it for quite a long time, and graduated at Red River College, had an absolute blast there. Great experience, amazing meeting the people I met and that I still am friends with. It's really, really great. It was an awesome experience. I am also, Métis from Winnipeg and from Saint-Laurent. I have a family. Actually, I can just click this through here. Here we go. Let's see if this pops up here. It's not loading exactly. Here we go. So this is sort of me in a nutshell. I love to be outdoors. I'm going to try and quickly go through these panels because my main focus here is talk about design and how it's affecting, how procrastination affects me with design. So I'm going to go through this really quickly. As you can see from this selection here, I love being outdoors. I'm an avid hunter. I love fishing. I love camping. I love gardening. Lots of if anything to do with outside, I'm totally there. Let's see here. I was thinking I want to load here, maybe because there's a lot of photos. I'm also active, very active in the community, as Christian mentioned. I firmly believe that it is very important to seek advice and be a part of community leadership groups that involve lots of mentors and elders. I think that's really important to me. The work that I do here, there's a lot of consultation with, we do a lot of consultation with elders and members of the community. And I'm also a scout leader, so I volunteer my time. I did volunteer my time pre-pandemic, teaching a bunch of kids on how to be outside, how to do those fundamental building a fire, how to use a knife. All those things are really important. Camping for children, I think, is an absolute amazing way to get them outside and be connected with nature. And so I am very happy to do that. I take a lot of pride in that. I also I give opportunities here at our work. We put on feasts and things for there's a course next door. So I like to feed people as well. So I'd like to do those type of things for the community and for the surrounding businesses. I would like to mention too that my business is located pretty much at the heart of Winnipeg here, Sutherland and Main Street in Higgins. I can look outside the window here. And I don't think to be honest, working here is absolutely amazing, being at the heart of Winnipeg and seeing all of the amazing things that are happening downtown right now. That's who I am. That's who I like to be. This is a couple of my amazingly beautiful coworkers. So my life pre-COVID. So this is where it all starts. This is going to give you a quick glimpse of some of my responsibilities, and I have a lot of them. And most of them are by choice. I'm going to laugh at some of them. I do consider D&D a responsibility, by the way. So these are the things I like to do. I am a person that if there's something that needs to be done, I'll do it myself. It's just something I enjoy doing. I like to learn about things. I like to get my hands on it, take it apart, fix it, and put it back together. So I find the amount of responsibilities is typically my fault, and I don't mind that. But what ends up happening is and then I'll talk about my hobbies, which I also have a million of. And so this is sort of, and again, by choice. I absolutely love being immersed in anything, whether it's fixing bikes, fixing my van, or vehicles in general, helping people fix their vehicles. I love taking things apart, learning about it, and putting them back together. I think there's a lot of lessons in there, something I've always liked doing. But the problem oftentimes is when you overlap the two of them, your life becomes really, really busy. And pre-COVID, what I was realizing now, or post-COVID rather, what I was realizing before COVID happened was how much it actually was stretching me. Like I had something every single night, and the responsibility of me doing those things every single night, you just lose sight of it. And what ended up happening is COVID really kind of just stopped that. It really kind of shook. It changed. It shook me. It changed my life. It took all of that away. Every volunteer position, all the things that I would do normally in the extracurricular activities, sports, all were all gone. Those connections I had to those people were gone. And so really at the end, it ended up just being home renos, work, family, and Dungeons and Dragons, which is a huge social aspect. And I joke about it. And by the way, I'm not a professional D&D or a dungeon master rather. I put that in there just to bug a few friends who I know that are listening and watching right now. I got to say it. Anyway, the point being is it really stopped. It stopped what I was doing, and I suddenly had a bunch of time. But work ended up filling that up, and so what ends up happening is that you fall into a depression. Like, you really do. You fall into some the isolation of not, and with the isolation, you fall into this, which essentially was a depression, and that idea of procrastination was compounded. You still had all these responsibilities, but they were based on Zoom meetings and virtual meetings, which just weren't the same. And so I ended up becoming very isolated, I guess, but not responding to all of the responsibilities that was still relied upon me. And so it was a real challenging point for me, and it was tough. The pandemic, from this time now last year to right up into the fall, was really, really hard for me. And so my already natural procrastination it just compounded, and it really kind of just ballooned from there. And I know it affected a lot of people that were relying on me to make certain decisions. But before I get into and how I sort of came out of that, I'll talk about more on what I do, and then I'll sort of bring it back around. So where I work, I think I've mentioned before, I work at Vincent Design Incorporated here in Winnipeg. We do primarily full gamut, really, in terms of what services we offer. I would say about 80% of our clients are Indigenous-based clients, and back in 2007, when I joined the Aboriginal Chamber of Commerce, I joined knowing that a friend of mine actually was the executive director, and he told me to come and join the board. And from then on, it just graphic design in terms of Indigenous graphic design, I don't really think existed then. There was no specific services that offered graphic design to Indigenous organizations and companies. There was no Indigenous graphic designer giving services to an Indigenous graphic design entity. And so it was just, I think, kind of happenstance, being at the right place at the right time. And it just grew from there. This is my office here in downtown Winnipeg. We're in the social enterprise building too, which I think some of you may know of. Amazing space, amazing people, and such an absolute pleasure to be a part of this whole community here. So what do I do? Indigenous graphic design is storytelling, plain and simple. We have to take in stories and lessons and teachings from communities and all sorts of other entities, really, and take that and give them a visual identity. Give them, show the world that what they offer and their values. Show the world what they do and who they are. I follow the philosophy of Etwaptamunk, which is two-eyed seeing. It's a philosophy that was pretty much figured out by Elder Albert Marshall, and he's a Mi'kmaq elder. And this was actually happening simultaneously with what I was already doing. As I was working, bringing on more Indigenous clients, working more with Indigenous clients, what I was discovering that what I was doing for them was really kind of showing the world, which was non-Indigenous, Indigenous and non-Indigenous, what they do. So I had to bridge this sort of gap. And when I learned about the teachings of Albert Marshall, it verified what I was doing, and it was really, really remarkable. If you ever have a chance, he has a few talks on Google. I would highly recommend listening to him and his wisdom. It's pretty awesome. But it validated on what I was doing, and this is a philosophy that I think it can and is being applied to many industries on Turtle Island right now. But it is one that really it solidified what I was doing, and I highly recommend reading his words and wisdom and seeing how it could apply to what you do today. When I design, I start with pencil and paper. That's what I do every single time. I think it's still a foundation that was taught to me, or that I've always had, but during college, it was told to me by instructors, and to this day, whether I have interns here, students come in asking me, I think it should always start with something tangible like pencil and paper. And those that know me know that I do this all the time, and it's really important. And they end up turning out better, in my opinion. So these are just some of the logos that I've done. You might recognize them in the community. Logo design is something that is an absolute passion of mine. It's sort of like what do they call it? It's something that hurts you. In college, I don't know how or why, but I absolutely love doing it, and to this day, I still do. And it's hard sort of when you're running the company. And being a creative director and still having to present and be a part of these meetings and finding time to do the logo design, I still do it, whether I have to work late. I absolutely love it. It's really, really amazing. Oh, what also is amazing is seeing the pride that your clients, seeing in their faces the pride that they have after, you handing out business cards with these sort of things. So it's really, really awesome. And also graphic design. I try to do book cover design as much as possible. I absolutely love book cover design, or just book design, period. And I still try and do it whenever I can. I love doing books for important elders who have stories that have made an impact on the history of Indigenous people and culture in Canada. It's pretty remarkable stuff. Also like illustration. And obviously, this is one of the jobs that I've done, the Indigenous Peoples Atlas of Canada for the Canadian Geographic Society. This one was a project that really also allowed me to accept that my style can be applied to all nations. This is the one that was pretty nerve-wracking, really, trying to, not only just design a logo, but have it be approved by CanGeo, Assembly First Nations, ITK, Métis National Councils, and National Center for Truth and Reconciliation. I remember being in the boardroom in Toronto pitching my design to the people there, and it was nerve-wracking as hell, but it was an amazing experience, and it really solidified that two-eyed seeing philosophy and how that all sort of functions with design. This is another campaign that we're currently doing now for the vaccine rollout for Indigenous people and First Nations in Manitoba. It's unbelievable, the experiences and people that I'm meeting. I'm getting to meet some really cool influencers, talking with them, sharing stories, and discovering, so absolutely amazing, discovering how much we actually overlap in the people we know. It's really, really cool. And if you ever get a chance, it's actually happening right now. Please visit Protect Our People MB for more info. Spread the word. We need to get people vaccinated to help and make sure our elders are protected. So this leads me to what Christian was talking about. He's like, "Hey, Shaun, you want to do some murals?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Should be simple, hey?" No, not the case. Red River College was looking for someone to develop some murals for their or to do something. When we figured out murals would have been it was a good idea. So we thought. So I'm going to run through this really quickly, but in short, what this was I had this idea, going to Red River College in downtown, or the Notre Dame campus, there's a lot of intersections, and they're all just wasted space with this, just monstrosity of a weird plant water thing happening. I thought, what if we just have one of those intersections become a sacred space? Why don't we put murals on each intersection coming in, and it sort of acts like you have the four directions there. It all will funnel into this one center area. We talked about it, threw some ideas around, and yeah, let's get some murals going, and we'll do 8, and they'll be based on the sacred teachings that the Indigenous students, Indigenous education or department thought that would have been a great idea. So that's what we did, and that's where it started. And these are the murals. I'll go into more each of them as I go along. Mother Protector, about bears, more than just bears actually. Each one has a certain theme. So I'm going to talk quickly about the original idea. The big challenge here was, actually I'll go through them actually, because I think there is one slide here that that talks about what the challenges were. So Running Thunder is, it's hard for me to read here. Each one has its own teachings. And I'm going to explain to you how the challenge was, how and why it didn't balance the current teachings for the Indigenous students, the current lessons that the school was using for their Indigenous Services Department, Education Department rather. Sunset Caribou is another one, Rhythm, Community. Sky Dancers represents love and protection. Taking a while to load here, a lot of pictures. This one is Wisdom, Responsibility. Waving Sabe, Honesty. And health, of course, mental health. Speckled Lurkers, which is Sustenance and Beauty. Taking a while to load here. This is the family. I love this one. This was just about family, and this is humility and community. And so the idea was to have these within the hallways like this. So it's you could see how kind of impactful they were going to be, quite large, and we're really looking forward to having them up, which kind of led to. And then this is actually a really good thing too. So they're kind of modular in how they're designed, so you can kind of pick them apart and use the elements throughout the school in different ways. So the ability to have these applied to the school is quite open, which is good. So this led to the issue with on how the lessons in the school weren't sort of melding with the teachings or the lessons that I thought would represent in these murals. And so we got onto this long discussion and process about whether there's a Christian told me that they were thinking about rebranding and thinking about changing the lessons that the Indigenous Students Education Department was using to more reflect what these murals were. And when he told me that was pretty remarkable. And so the school asked me to verify or ask to consult with elders about the teachings that I was proposing. And then came the journey of having to talk to not only the elders in the school, but elders outside the school, and ask them, would these apply? Do these apply? And it became really challenging for me because it's a lot of the elders that I talked to, they said, well, why are you asking me this? This is something that, this is your thing. These are lessons that are coming from you and your heart. Obviously what you have here applies, but in reality, this is your thing. You're at the point now where you can make these decisions. And so even though I did consult with elders and told them my ideas, the consensus among them was, good luck. This is going to be a very hard thing to do, and we're going to support you as best we can. One of my favorite artists of all time, aside from Kanajuak Ashevak, is Jackson Beardy. And I read a lot of stories about him and his journeys, and he had the best quote, I think, that really kind of helped me be confident, I guess, in this idea of the mural design. And it says, if an elder tells me something, I cannot visualize exactly what he says because I am not him. I can only interpret what he says, incorporating my own life and philosophies. At one time, I tried to hide behind an Indian image of the fact that my paintings were based strictly on legends. Now that I am myself, free to express the feelings that I have, I can accept the responsibility of the people I represent. I add to the basic legends their integrity, their dignity. In that sense, I translate their oral art in a meaningful visual way. So what this did for me was discover that you can still have lessons based on the traditional teachings, but seen from a different perspective. And that's all these murals were. And so it was really amazing journey for me, and stressful, especially during the pandemic, to make this discovery and to sort of help validate the lessons and the teachings that I was proposing to the school. And then, hey, Shaun, let's make this our brand. And I was like, what? Are you crazy? So now we're on the path to completely using these as the replacement for the current teachings. And it felt, and the big reason is I felt that the teachings they didn't really proportionally represent Indigenous people in Manitoba. So what I ended up doing, as you can see in the logos, the designs that I've done too, I love to use animals or plants because they cross nations, they overlap, and you can have certain animals and plants represent many different nations, and it can be acceptable, and it's there's nothing specific there that someone else might find doesn't represent them. That's what I like doing, and I think going forward with this in the school, which is not 100% yet, by the way, I'd just like to point out this is all sort of in the works, but I think having this go forward, it would be a more unique way to discuss or to teach Indigenous teachings and lessons, because people are going to see it in a new light. And I think this is the progression that Jackson Beardy was talking about, and how we don't have to keep using ox carts and nooksooks and dream catchers. There are so many other ways to represent Indigenous design, Indigenous lessons and thoughts, and that sort of thing. And this, so yeah, this is, nothing was 100% finalized. Just let you know, the point of this is just sharing that this was just another thing to add in the many aspects of being, and this is many aspects of being the one to make important decisions during this stupid pandemic. So what to make of all of this? So here's my thoughts on this one. In this work in my life, things come and go. This is just the reality when you have a million hobbies. But the pandemic took everything away at once. It's pre and post-pandemic perspective now. When everything stopped at once, I realized how much energy I was expending in service to other people. The shock of having the communication and interaction with people really affected me. Not having, rather. It's like the obligations kept me going and gave me energy. With everything on hold or on the back burner, I had no energy to even answer people's questions. I realized that I was fighting depression, anxiety, and isolation. I realized my life was all about work and obviously volunteering and responsibilities. And right now, without the happy parts that we all sort of are used to, the gaming and seeing my friends and stuff, those outlets were gone. And that compounded all of the depression and all that isolation, and it just stops you from doing things. It stops you from answering questions, stops you from answering texts, it stops you from answering emails. And for me, when I answer emails or do anything, I put a lot of thought into it. I just it's hard for me to write an email. There has to be something there. So all of those things caused me to procrastinate, I guess, caused me to hesitate, caused me to not do anything. But here's what I do know, and this is what I discovered, even in this, for this talk, especially for the procrastination, what I discovered, that I was actually never procrastinating. It seemed like I did those things. It seemed like I did to those who were waiting on me to make important decisions. However, what I actually was doing was prioritizing. I was doing this for the sake of my mental health. I honestly think people do this unknowingly. There is too much to handle right now, especially now with this pandemic. And if you're in this situation, feeling overwhelmed, deciding not to make a choice, not making a choice is still a choice. It's perfectly okay. And you shouldn't, the guilt that you feel on not making a choice just compounds the anxiety and stress that we're currently experiencing. So the only one thing I can recommend to you today is to communicate to people who are relying on you in a simple way. Quickly send them a message saying, I got your message, I'm going to get back to you when I can. And there's no harm in asking for more time in terms of making important decisions. And the one thing I can recommend for me personally, is just do one thing at a time. That's one thing too that really was always told to me, but never really experienced and never put it into practice until this stupid pandemic. And that works really, really, really well. And so I think you need to take time for yourself to think of all these things and know that procrastination isn't a bad thing. It's just your mind being able to handle all of these things at once, especially now in this situation that we're in. So anyway, I hope I didn't go over in time, but thank you very much for listening to me babble on about procrastination and what I do and how I applied it to design. But just one more thing, and this is a total plug on my end, but I am putting together an Indigenous scholarship fund for Indigenous artists and designers, and we have this currently ongoing right now. And if you have a couple bucks, that would be great. But the point of this, and the reason why I'm doing this, is I'm basically putting forward opportunities that I didn't have. I put myself through school. I was working full time and going to school full time, living on a really crappy apartment on Colony, but I did it, and I know a lot of people can't because of the fact that schooling is pretty pricey these days. So this is why I'm doing this, and I just wanted to add that.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Shaun. We really appreciate you spending the time to put your talk together and sharing everything that you shared. It was wonderful. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Breathtaking photos, everything amazing. So thank you again to Shaun Vincent from Vincent Designs for being here with us, and for spending, sharing those emotional stories with us. It was really beautiful. Now we want to invite you to use this platform as a pitch for any project or job alert or anything that's happening in your community or your organization that you want us to share with our Creative Mornings audience. So we invite you to participate by creating a 30-second pitch of yourself sharing your project or your idea, and you only have 30 seconds to do it, but pre-record the video and send it to us at winnipeg@creativemornings.com, and we would love to share it with our audience, and we could even share it on our social media. So get the word out. Let us help you do that. Thanks so much to everyone for taking the time to join us today at Creative Mornings, and we look forward to seeing you again next month in May. We welcome our speaker next month, Natasha Boone, who's going to be talking about the theme of resilience. The tickets for the upcoming event are already available for sign up. So remember to do that before you leave today. Invite your friends and invite your cousins. We're now pleased to have another song by Mise on Scene, and this one is titled Dollar Dreams. So we hope that you'll take a couple minutes and listen before you exit and submit your registration for next month, and reflect and carry that positive energy with you throughout the day and throughout the weekend, because it's Friday. The formal program is now done, but please feel free to listen to the music, head back to the social lounge, and chat with some of the friends that you met today a little bit longer. And this is your opportunity to network with like-minded people. And thank you again. We hope that you have a fabulous weekend, and we look forward to seeing you next month. Bye.